So, if you look on the BBC Sport web pages today, which is the 12th of September, you will see this article here, not written by Andrew Benson. Andrew Benson is paid to write articles to arouse children. That is what that abuser's job is. This one is written by one of their football journalists, somewhat more authentic than the Formula One content that you receive from the BBC. But this particular article talks about the sports trial of the century to begin, the Premier League versus Manchester City on 115 charges. So, sports trial of the century. It's not. Okay. That will be when Formula One is taken to court. It won't be 115 charges. And I will show you where that's going to go when it happens. And it's not going to take as long as this one has taken. I'm going to take you through this article and I'm going to explain a few differences without revealing too much, but hopefully it will guide you along the way and make your understanding a little bit better. So, underneath the picture it says Man City have been the Premier League's most successful team for the past 10 years, winning 4 titles in a row up to the 2023/24 season. So Dan Rowan is the BBC Sports editor responsible for this article. So finally, after years of build-up, perhaps English football's biggest and most controversial contest is set to begin. Now, before I read this out, what I'm going to state is my opinion about Manchester City as a team. We have seen a football team receive a billionaire owner, like Chelsea. That happened in the past. A club gets a new owner that's got loads of money, and they throw loads of money at the team, buying loads of players, paying big money in wages to attract those players, and essentially being able to build a team which then has a much greater chance of winning things. Now, I don't see how that works. If I had loads and loads of money, I don't know why I would piss it away just spending £100 million, giving a club £100 million to get a man to come and play football for me and giving him 250 grand a week. I'm really not that passionate enough about football to want to do that. I would rather do something with the money where more people, okay, £250,000 a week to one man. Well, I'd rather set up a little business where I could probably employ 6 men on 40 grand a year, all right, and still have 10 grand left over. And the livelihoods of 6 people and their families would be benefited rather than just throw 250 grand at one spoilt prick. Okay, so that wouldn't be the way I would choose to use money. But we're all led to believe, look, everybody, a footballer is worth £250,000 per week. A doctor, £100,000 per year, and actually having to work for that. But, you know, this is what we value in this society that they've conditioned us all to believe is the way forward. Anyway, in regard to Manchester City, they've got this billionaire owner, and therefore all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this club is buying players to improve them and give them a better chance of winning. So straight away you're looking and say, well, it's just bought success. But that's the way that we've seen it go. We've seen it with Chelsea, and then we saw it with Manchester City. What I will say is Pep Guardiola as a manager is superb in that, yes, he has inherited some quality players when he went to that club, because there are already some good players that were bought by that club. He has bought players, he's had the ability to buy the players that he wanted, and he has moulded them players to play a style of football which is absolutely superb. And okay, what you can level at him is only manage the top teams, which are going to attract the top players. Fine, but you only get given the jobs at the top teams if they think that you're going to have a chance of doing that, and he has, right? That the style of football that he can get those players to play is second to none. So I like Manchester City in terms of watching the football that they produce. However, rules are rules. Martin Brundle will tell you rules are rules. You've seen that on my other videos. Martin Brundle will tell you rules are rules. So if the sport introduces financial fair play regulations, which weren't in play to this extent when Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea, okay, but once the Premier League brings that in, then you've got to abide by them. And if you cheat, there needs to be a consequence. Because if there is no consequence for cheating, then people will cheat. Right? Here are the rules. Oh, we broke the rules. Oh, nothing's going to happen. Well, what's the point of that then? What's the point in having rules if somebody breaks the rules and oh, that's fine. So really, you're saying there's no rules then. So there needs to be a consequence if there are breaks of rules. And it would appear for it to go this far that there are breaks of rules. Okay, I don't know the intricacies. I've not researched this. The chances are the information is not freely available to us all. So we're relying upon second-hand information. What you're going to get is lawyers from either side seeking to argue and make themselves millions of pounds out of this. When I take Formula One to court, I've done all the research, okay? I'm going to do that for free. If they choose to pay lawyers to seek to defend them, then what I will do is obliterate everything that a lawyer will attempt to come at me with, because I have evidence that is clear for everybody to see. And what I will also do is demonstrate that those lawyers are actually seeking to pervert the course of justice by putting forward false arguments to prevent justice. So stuff any corrupt lawyer that seeks to represent a corrupt entity. I will expose you. I will expose you. So here we go. On one side, always two sides, isn't there? The Premier League. On the other side, it's defending champions and dominant force Manchester City. City face 115 charges for allegedly breaking the financial rules of the competition. They have won for a record-breaking 4 consecutive seasons. Those charges will be heard at an independent hearing, which is set to start on Monday at an unknown location, subject to any late legal delays. What's a late legal delay? Okay, a late legal delay. What is that all about? There should be deadlines. Here is the problem. Here is the case against you. So this is the Premier League. Here is the case against you, the offender. You have a period of time with which to form your defence, and then we will take this to a trial, to a hearing. No late legal delays. No dirty shenanigans, no legal dance, because that's what it is. It's a legal dance designed to make lawyers money, because justice is quite simple. Justice, law, is quite simply the difference between right and wrong in the context of a given situation. I can prove that in Formula One. I can prove what is right and wrong. Anybody that suggests otherwise, I will obliterate you. It is quite simple. It is quite simple. Build as. What do you mean, build as? What are you talking about? This isn't a big fight in Saudi Arabia, the BBC. It's not top of the billing, okay? This is a legal procedure. Build as. What are you trying to sell here? You're trying to sell tickets to it, are you, the BBC? Dan Rowan? Build as. Sports. Trial of... Oh, it's a thriller in Manila. No, shut up. It is expected to run for 10 weeks, with a verdict expected in early 2025. Well, when is this set to begin? All right. Sets to start on Monday. 10 weeks on from Monday is, well, that's going to take us to the end of November. So why aren't we not going to get a verdict then? Surely, if you've heard all the evidence, you can go, well, I've heard your side, I've heard your side, this is what it is. Why are we going to have to wait until early 2025? And is it really going to take 10 weeks? I mean, when it comes to my trial against Formula One, our trial against Formula One, well, it might take 10 weeks. They've got a lot of videos to watch from a YouTube channel called Fixed F1 XED. So they'll all have to go through them videos. Their lawyers, their legal teams have got a lot of watching to do to see if they can pick me apart, find something that I've said where they can apparently then seek to attack me. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Because what you're not going to be able to do is change the facts. You might not like me. You might not like what I say. You might not like how I say it. But it doesn't change the fact that you, Formula One, and all the teams manipulated that result. It doesn't change the fact that Sky Sports were in on it and media conditioned minds. You filthy scum. None of that can be disproven. And that is why you're going to go down. So, it marks a defining stage in a legal dispute, the likes of which the game has never seen, and which could bring seismic consequences for both sides. Well, yes, it could. But the one for Formula One is going to be much bigger. And when you actually realise what it's going to be, you you will be surprised how much bigger. But it will be seismic, and they know it. And that is why they will try and silence me. You know, for example, whistleblowers for Boeing, well, they ended up dead, didn't they? But we'll come to that in a bit. Where are we now? I've lost my point. Seismic consequences. There we are. This, after all, involves one of the world's most successful clubs being accused of serial cheating by the very league it has dominated for years. A club at the centre of a global network of 13 teams across 5 continents, owned by a billionaire member of Abu Dhabi's ruling family, whose sovereign wealth has transformed the landscape of the sport. Now, fortunately for this case, Manchester City is owned by just a billionaire member of Abu Dhabi's ruling family. Had it have been owned by, for example, a big financial institution such as, as a random guess, BlackRock, had, for example, the cheating entity being owned by a big banking firm, then you'd be up against a completely different entity. What you'd hear about it in the media that they also own would be completely different. Completely different. Funny that. Maybe you should take a look at BlackRock, what their links are with Liberty Media. In fact, the whole media group that Liberty Media is part of, what they're worth, who their investors are, who their owners are, So, who owns BlackRock? All these people. Who's got shares in BlackRock? And what they do is they make money somehow, don't they? They magic up money by saying, oh, this is now worth this. Let's pay ourselves millions of pounds in bonuses. Oh, this is now worth this. Let's pay ourselves more millions in bonuses. And every company that they own or they have investments in, and they're all linked to, and they manage their assets. None of them is going to step out of line and expose something that they shouldn't expose. and that includes the media firms. Funny that, isn't it? Let's have a musical interlude.
Rich bankers with criminal connections. Rich bankers with criminal connections. Dope pushers. Rich bankers with criminal connections.
If you have not ever listened to that tune, perhaps go and listen to it. It's about the Kennedy assassination, really, but it does expose a lot. It exposes a lot. Anyway, back to what we were talking about with the BBC. Go and have a look at BlackRock, and go and have a look who they own, or who they asset manage, shall we call it. Labelled the world's biggest shadow bank. Look whose interests are represented by BlackRock. And that might give you an understanding. When I've said from the start this is all about the money, and hence Liberty Media made $4.8 billion in that 2021 season through the sport, the show of Formula One, attracting a larger audience. Because how on earth does Formula One increase by 4.8 billion? Who says, oh, at the start of the year, Formula One as a brand, as an entity, is worth about 9 billion. And at the end of the year, who then says, oh, we now think it's worth 13.8 billion? Where have you magicked that 4.8 billion up from? Where does that come from? Somebody want to tell me? Oh, we've all paid ourselves thousands and thousands and millions of pounds worth of bonuses out of that. Well done. We've all bought ourselves Ferraris out of that. Well done. How did that happen then? Oh, well, let me tell you. More people are fans of the sport now. Lots more people watch it worldwide. And because more people watch it, everybody that wants to advertise their brands around the world, to sell their shit around the world, now wants to advertise with Formula One. And because so many people want to advertise their brand in and around the sport of Formula One, we can charge more money for that advertising space. Okay? Because more eyes are going to see it. Oh, and that makes the whole thing a lot more valuable. So now we're saying, oh, and it's going to grow every year. It's going to grow and it's going to grow and it's going to grow. And we're going to pay ourselves millions of pounds in bonuses, says the bankers. All right. That's what Formula One has done. That's how it works. Okay. Rich bankers controlling so much of what actually goes on in this world. That is controlling exactly what is going on. So people that are saying about conspiracy theorists, okay, you need to understand that when interests converge, you don't need a agreed kind of sit down around a table to agree a plan of action. Everybody involved realizes that it is in their interests to do what is being done, because they're all going to make money out of it. That's what has happened in Formula One. The difference with Manchester City, it's just this, the owner being a billionaire member of Abu Dhabi's ruling family. So, do they have control over the media? Do they have control over being able to spin a narrative to a population to absolve Manchester City of any wrongdoing? No, evidently not. Evidently not. What they do have is loads of money whereby they can threaten you. Oh, if you say that, we will put our lawyers onto you. We will take you to court and sue you for lots of money. And that's enough to scare a lot of people. But as long as you're talking truth, as long as you're talking fact, you can't be sued. What, you want to sue me for saying that you are corrupt? Formula One, you are corrupt. Sky Sports, you are corrupt. The BBC, you are corrupt. every single Formula One team. You are corrupt. You want to sue me? Go ahead. Get your lawyers, sue me. James Atkins, fixed F1 XED. Sue me. You can find my contact details out. It's pretty easy. Okay? Pretty easy. I've emailed most of you, so you can always email me back. I'll be happy to receive your emails and I will respond. Sue me. You won't. And the reason you won't is because I'm not saying anything that's wrong. It's true what I'm saying. You can't sue anybody for saying the truth. You're corrupt. So, anyway, we'll get away from that. We'll talk through this article. So, the Abu Dhabi's ruling family, whose sovereign wealth has transformed the landscape of the sport. The case involved an unprecedented catalogue of 115 allegations spread over 14 seasons, including multiple charges of subverting the regulations by failing to provide accurate financial information. Ooh, we have a team in Formula One that's guilty of breaching the financial regulations of the sport. What happens? Oh, we'll fine you 7 million and we'll stop your training on a Tuesday. You're not allowed to train your team on Tuesdays. All right, thanks for that. We'll accept that punishment. But Christian Horner will tell you that's made a big difference to us. Yeah. So, where are we? City have always strongly denied the charges. Oh, I wonder what, because they come out and admit that, do they? Just like Red Bull. How dare you say that we've breached the cost cap? How dare you say that? If you say that, we'll take you to court. Oh, yeah, we breached the cost cap, didn't we? How dare you say you say anything like that? You better have some good lawyers behind you. Oh, yeah, we did, didn't you? Yeah, you did. They've strongly denied the charges, and while the speculation is intensifying, no one knows what the outcome, expected early next year, will be. Well, if you have accomplished something by breaching the rules and regulations, well, you've not accomplished it in accordance with those rules and regulations. So you should have whatever it was that you accomplished stripped from you. And therefore, the first team or the first competitor that did accomplish it without breaching those rules and regulations, i.e. they accomplished it validly, that is who the actual winner is. It's as simple as that. There's a consequence. If you cheat, then you don't get to cheat. You don't get to keep what it is you've supposedly won through cheating. Otherwise, what's the point of rules? There's rules in life. We're all expected to obey those, and they exist for a functioning civilized society. That is the purpose of having law. Otherwise, we solve our disputes ourselves. You have a problem with somebody, how are you going to resolve it? If you can't do it amicably, then people are going to use brutality, aren't they? Hence, we have laws. So that we have this system that we abide by, which is there to resolve these situations without it resulting to brutality. Hence, the laws are there to maintain a civilized society. They apply to everybody. Everybody. And them same things apply in business. And sport has become a business. They apply. Doesn't matter what money's involved. Rules are rules. Martin Brundle will tell you that. So, if found guilty of the most serious charges, City would risk being forever associated with one of the biggest financial scandals in sport. City could, in theory, face a points deduction serious enough to condemn them to relegation or even expulsion from the Premier League. Well, if they are guilty, then that is what they should get. Such a fate would cast a long shadow over City's achievements, plunge the future of the manager and squad into uncertainty, and possibly spark claims for compensation from other clubs. Absolutely. If Manchester City have cheated, they have cheated other competitors out of their valid accomplishment. There are players that are dedicating their lives to playing football. Okay, I don't feel too sorry for them on the grounds that they're all earning far more money than any one of us will ever get in our lifetimes. You know, they will earn more money in a week than, I say earn, they will be given more money in a week than, well, some of us, it would take us 10 years to earn what they earn in a week. Is that right? In 5 weeks, they get given what it would take us to earn in a lifetime of earning in a job. They get that in 5 weeks for kicking a sack of wind around a field. That is the perceived value of them. Mr. Johnny Average that kicks a football around. Whoopee-doo. Okay? But you are encouraged to hero worship that. You're encouraged to go out to work all week and then go and pay your £60 on a Saturday to go and watch Johnny Average kick a sack of wind around. And more fool you if that's what you seek to do. Anyway, so these people that are playing football, essentially, if Manchester City have beaten them, you've robbed those people that were part of a team that was validly playing by the rules and would have beaten you were it not for the fact that you've cheated. You've robbed them of all that goes with success. You've robbed them of career statistics, those trophies, the honours that they've won. You've robbed them of being, what comes along with that as well is the extra income that you might get as revenue from sponsors, from being the figurehead of a brand, the face of a brand, because you're a winner. When it comes to the end of your career and you are going for jobs in the media, for example, as a pundit, then you are seen as a more reliable pundit or more valuable pundit if you've got a history of being a winner. You've got the experience of being a winner. Well, if all of your career has been tainted by being up against a team that's cheating all the time, well, that's impacted your career. It's impacted your lifetime earnings through a team cheating. So yes, there's compensation claims. See where we're going with this, Red Bull? See where we're going with this, Red Bull? Oh yes, that'd be you, Christian Horner. That would be you, Jonathan Wheatley. That would be you, the genius, Adrian Newey. Get out while you can. Jump ship while you can. The rats are leaving the sinking ship. But you're still rats and you're still going to be identified. So we come down. The fate casting a long shadow. Right. A stain on the reputation. It has been suggested that such a stain on the reputation of City and the club's owners could even affect Britain's relationship with the United Arab Emirates, a key Gulf ally and trading partner, whose president is the brother of the club's majority owner, Sheikh Mansour. Oh, don't do us for cheating, otherwise we won't trade with you. No, mate. That's called blackmail. Okay? And again, this is the sort of things that rich bankers with criminal connections will do. It's in our interest to keep this quiet. It's in all of our interests for our investment firms. All of these people that are investors in BlackRock, let's go down to the list again, that have all got asset management of everybody else, who all these banks and financial institutions, who's your pension with? Who's your pension with? Which countries have got big investments in each of these banking corporations? What funds what? Nobody's going to call something out if it's going to cause a big loss to the balance sheet that they've got a stake in. Nobody's going to call it out, and neither is anyone that is under them. None of the assets, the so-called assets that they manage, are going to be allowed to call out anything if it's going to cause a devaluation of one of the assets under their management, are they? Rich bankers with criminal connections. So, the UAE might fall out with us if we do anything against Man City for Man City cheating. Whoopie-doo. You've cheated. There's a consequence. Yeah, but we won't like you if you tell us we've done something wrong. Right. Oh, so let that be shall that be the law, shall it? Shall that be the law? Or is law just the difference between right and wrong? Difference between right and wrong. If you've cheated, you've cheated. Oh, but do we need to consider whether the United Arab Emirates might fall out with us if we tell them they've done something wrong? Yeah, that would be called corruption. That would be called deciding on an outcome based on somebody's desire. Oh, he's a very wealthy man that owns this, so we can't tell him off. Is that how it works, is it? Or is law and rules? It is time now for case 6 years in the making. 6 years in the making. So all these strap-on fanboys that like coming to the comment section to taunt, to keep poking the finger, going, when you're going to court, when you're going to court, when you're going to court, because that's what they do. Understand that these things don't happen overnight. Already, in the almost 2 years that I've taken to YouTube, my understanding has evolved. It's continually evolving. Why it's evolving is because I'm doing work, I'm doing some research, I'm educating myself. Part of that education is through the interactions from you people that are watching this. Some of the valuable comments are enhancing perspective and the understanding of what is actually going on here. Not those from the strap-on fanboys, okay? Not you guys. You're not adding any value to any of this. But there are some good people that are just making me have to think a different way about certain things. And in doing so, what it does, it clarifies certain situations, it clarifies motives, and it clarifies who is doing what within this process. I would have written articles when I was doing my articles on Facebook, and I didn't fully understand Toto Wolff's role within all of this. Toto Wolff is complicit with the fraud. That's a fact. Toto Wolff, if you want to take me to court for that, get you a lawyer, give him a couple of million quid. Get that one that you sent into the Stewards Appeal in Abu Dhabi. Get him. I'm sure he'll do you a favour. Just do it for a couple of mil. Get him to put a case against me. Take me to court. You're corrupt, Toto Wolff. You are complicit with the fraud. You don't like me saying that. You don't like me exposing you for that. Take me to court. Well, you won't, but, that's the offer. That's the offer. Or do you need 6 years? So I don't. I'll go tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow. Anyway, what we're going to continue with this article. There's only a little bit more that I want to go through. It's difficult to overstate the seriousness and scale of the saga, threatening to exacerbate widening divisions in the game, and which has become a test case for the Premier League's authority and credibility at a time when it already faces an array of challenges. Last month, at a London launch event celebrating the start of the new season, but dominated by questions over financial regulations, the Premier League's chief executive Richard Masters told BBC Sport that it is time now for the City case to be resolved. Because, let's face it, they've already handed out their penalties to the likes of Leicester, to Everton, to Nottingham Forest, I think it was. Manchester City. We might upset somebody there. We might upset a billionaire. Shall we take Manchester City to court or not? Choosing his words carefully, but perhaps hinting at the toll the case has already taken and the turmoil it has unleashed, he added, it's been going on for a number of years, and I think it's self-evident that the case needs to be heard and answered. So 10 years after City were first punished by UEFA for breaching its financial rules, 6 years after the Premier League opened an investigation into the club, and 20 months since they were charged, how did we finally get here, and what exactly does the club stand accused of, and what forces are at play, and what is at stake? If you're interested in that, read it yourself on the BBC website. They're billing this, okay, as the sports case of the century. Well, I'm telling you, this case will be tiny compared to what is going to happen to Formula One. The sport of Formula One systematically contrived a result as a sport. This isn't just one team cheating. This is the entire sport cheating all of the viewers, all of the global population, who all had access to be able to view that, and have subsequently all had access to learn about what took place. The sport has lied about that. Every form of media has lied about that. Who's got financial interests in the media? Who's got investments in those media firms? Who's going to work to ensure that those media firms aren't exposed? Who's going to work to ensure that this whole entity isn't exposed and hence devalued, and therefore devaluing their financial asset? If you were Boeing aircraft, which I believe BlackRock is a huge asset manager of, I think that forms part of its portfolio, and somebody is going to expose that Boeing aircraft knew about failings and potential flaws in their aircraft that could cause to crashes. And when somebody's about to blow the whistle about that, they mysteriously suffer a heart attack. Crazy shit. Just as they're about to report it and it's about to be revealed, they just drop down dead, don't they? It might have been a pulmonary embolism. Who knows? But if you're about to reveal something, rich bankers with criminal connections that would stand to have some of their asset devalued, they don't like that. They don't like that. And that is what's really behind going on in the sport of Formula One. So that is why there's a risk. And that is why it's all covered up. And when people say, oh, this is just a conspiracy theory, well, why is it that everything that I'm exposing on this channel, simple things to expose? Quite simply, what are the Formula One safety car rules for? Oh, it's to get the lapped cars out of the race between the leaders, is what you've been told, is what That's all that Sky Sports will say. That's a lie. That's an entire lie. I've explained it. I've explained that if an incident happens, racing gets neutralised. It gets neutralised for everybody. And before you resume racing, you have to make it fair for everybody. You can't just leave now. In Abu Dhabi, the example was Lando Norris, who was less than 12 seconds behind Gasly, due to Latifi crashing, and that safety car process meant that Norris has to stay behind Hamilton, and Gasly disappears off around the track and joins the end of the safety car snake. You can't allow that to happen. Hence, we have regulations. Hence, the lapped cars are released. Hence, the safety car remains on track for at least a further lap to enable those released cars the chance of catching the back of the pack. That's what it's for. Nobody explains it to you that way. Why? Well, it's because they're salesmen. They're paid to sell you the show. They're paid to lie to you, to convince you, to get you excited. All they care about is your eyes on the show, and you get the eyes on the show by exciting you, by arousing you. That's abusing you. That's not telling you the truth. That is what the show does. That's what the media contracted to sell you the show does. It's quite simple. And through being able to do that, they were able to contrive a result to that event that they wanted to manufacture for the motives that only they will truly know. Only they will truly know why they wanted to deprive Lewis Hamilton out of a record-breaking 8th World Championship. Now, we can all come up with different ideas about that. But let's be clear about this. The colour of Lewis Hamilton's skin is different to everybody else's. He was the only person deprived in that manner. If you would like to suggest that that's not a factor, I would suggest that you are naive. So, what the other motives might be, they might vary from individual to individual who is involved in contriving that outcome. There might be many factors, but you cannot disregard that one. Anyway, that will do on this video. I know it's not what most people like to hear. So a lot of people, when they want to listen to Formula One content, they want to hear about what the latest is, what people think about what might happen about this or what might happen about that. I don't care. And I don't care because I'm not interested in the fake show that Formula One has become. Every week, there's a new controversy. There's a new, will it be this? Will it be that? Will this new up-and-coming driver be successful? Well, we'll see, won't we? I'm not going to tell you, well, I think this. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Well, there's plenty of channels where you can tell us your predictions. Not interested in what you think or what I think. It's irrelevant, isn't it? It's irrelevant. Let's focus on, are we watching an authentic sport? No is the answer. No. Categorically no. And therefore, there is no point in watching it if it's not authentic. So until it gets made authentic again, which is what I intend to do, there is little point in investing your time and emotion and money into it. Let's get it right first. Let's eradicate the corruption so that actually it becomes authentic and it's worth then investing time and emotion into. So, this particular video might be a bit heavy for some. Some people might not be ready to realise the underlying motivations and the underlying structure of why it is this corruption has never been exposed, and it's going to be difficult to expose. But I'm going to seek for the court case to be televised. The crime was televised. The crime was played live to a global audience. And therefore, the punishment and the breakdown of the crime needs to be played live to a global audience. People need to see what was done to them. And BlackRock, they're not going to like that. They're not going to like that. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I get that far. People were asking in the comment section if I'd stop making videos. They were concerned over my safety. I've got various things going on in life, as we all do, and I have to prioritise. But the time will be coming as soon as I get a chance to put this all together, and once a couple of other things happen too, to expose exactly what is going on here. Anyway, thank you for your time, and more to come as soon as I can. Thank you.